Ooh, are we all good?
I'm good.
Is it working?
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah, you're sounding great.
All right.
Okay, let me resize these. All right. I think it should be A-okay from my end.
It's not going to be okay, but sure, let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. Are you ready, LS?
Yeah.
All right, then let's just go straight into it. Ladies and gentlemen, episode number 25 of Beyond the Rift, Season 2, starring the one and only. I'm a cutie pie, your host with the most, and today we got a real special guest. We got a real special treat for you guys, because joining us is our lovely co-host, Skara. Skara, give him an intro.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Skara. I've been here day in, day out. I co-host the show, and we talk with people from the league and maybe people outside of the league. We've got a great special guest this week, and Nick... Well, I don't know how you would pronounce your last name. Is it Nick Cesare?
Cesare.
Okay. Nick Cesare, otherwise known as LS. He is by far the most requested guest I've had in the last 4 months. So I'm glad to have him on the show finally to talk, some stuff.
Thanks for having me here, Skara.
Oh, LS, why don't you introduce yourself? I didn't do you justice.
I've been in esports for about 12 years. I started in StarCraft 1. Tried to come to Korea for it, but I couldn't because of my age. I came to Korea for StarCraft 2. Eventually transitioned into Hearthstone, and then I transitioned into League in Season 4. And I've been in League ever since.
Holy shit, damn. Wait, you played Hearthstone? Did you play Hearthstone competitively?
I made handlock.
Oh, really?
Really?
I have proof I made handlock. I have the original OG video enlisted on YouTube.
Holy shit, what the fuck? Damn. Wait, did you didn't play Hearthstone competitively before? You were doing that on the side with League?
I quit because I was supposed to be invited to was it called WESG or something, and I got vetoed out behind the scenes because I had been playing League for 2 weeks, and so someone that was organizing the event said that they thought I wasn't interested, and so I didn't go. And I was financially really, really in a bad spot. And I was always in a financially bad spot in Korea for first 4 years or so. And I just couldn't keep doing Hearthstone, and so I quit. But I had been one of the main arena streamers with ECOP, Crip, and Trump from August to December.
Oh, holy shit.
The first few months.
Well, I didn't even know that.
No idea.
Yeah, what the fuck? Hey, that's a good introduction, dude. Someone that finally introduced themselves with useless stuff, or useful. Wait. Useful. Dude, I've been so used to calling people useless in my solo queue games. My bad, man. It's like second habit for me now. But anyways, let's give a quick intro for the Discord, because everyone loves using Discord. Discord question and answer segment at the end of the show. You guys got questions. We got answers. Feel free to ask them. We're going to answer as many as we can at the end of the show. Download link down below. Go get it. But let's go straight into the topics, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to start off with topic number 1. We got some juicy ones here. Topic number 1 shall be, and I'm going to find it, Scar, because I'm actually fucking big brain as fuck. Check it out.
You don't want me to read it off?
No, you don't need to read it off. I actually know how to do this shit.
Okay.
Scar actually thinks I don't know how to use OBS. So
I'm more worried that you don't know how to read.
No.
Just this is the third week in a row Cutie forgot the questions.
I told my chat that. I know that I'm terribly prepared, and Scar, obviously, fuck you. All right, let's go into the topic. So, LS, you've been everything from a StarCraft player to a League of Legends coach, streamer, and analyst. When you look back on your career, what's something important that you've learned as you've transitioned through so many roles?
I feel like there's 2 ways I can answer that. One would be that games are like colors, and they share a lot of. So if I answer it from a gaming standpoint, all the games are like colors. MOBAs, RTSs, games like chess or poker or whatever, and they share so many patterns that are abstract or something, and they can leak into one another, and you can identify things that will help you understand deeper or finer details to the different games and whatnot. But I think the biggest thing that I take away from like coming to Korea in 2011 at such a young age, and then just growing up here and whatnot, is I think learning to control and not panic at situations, and then I think just growing as a person, because even going back 4 or 5 years, I think I was much more frantic with handling situations, and I would panic a lot quicker. But then just seeing the evolution of esports and seeing how games evolved and whatnot, I think learning that there's always different answers to situations is probably one of the most important things.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. I like that. I know exactly what you mean, because like when I would coach or like, you know, try to help teams with their problems, everyone would have different problems. They'd be like, oh, I think we can do this team fight differently. I think we can do team fight this way. And I found out that your job as a coach, it was either to figure out the best way or just to get them to try both and figure out which one worked better. But you had to actively do stuff, or else they'd just be like, well, I think my point is right. And the other guy would be like, well, I think my point is right. And they would just fight about it.
Yep. I remember... Oh, go ahead.
I was curious. I was just going to ask you, like, because you brought up a point about, like, the games have, like, patterns that you can find and stuff like that. And I always talk to Leisha, my wife, about, like, how she always wonders, like, how I can play so many games and just, like, pick them up, like, decently quickly. I'm curious, what's your take on that? Like, do you think that games, like, if you're good at one game, like League of Legends, you can transfer it to even like a shooter, something that's just a completely different genre, some of the skills that you have, or do you think it's not that transferable?
So in my experience, I think it depends on through what means does someone achieve a high MMR or a high tier or a status inside of the game, and when do they do it? If you're a top-level player within a game's infancy, I don't think that it really holds much merit, as opposed to if you're a high-level player 2 to 3 years into the game. My experience from seeing it from so many people, doing it myself because I've game hopped so many times or whatever, is the skills that you acquire, the refinement, the discipline, knowing what to look for, knowing how to work down on... If you complete something in a minute, you figure out, okay, well, there's a way to do it in 50 seconds, and then there's a way to do it in 45 seconds. That's the same thing as basically CSing. There's a way to get 10 CS per minute, a way to get 11, there's a way to get 12, refining trades, just cutting corners on everything. I think if you do that enough, what it takes to get to the highest levels is sort of ingrained in you. And if you hop games, I think it's just going to be a natural tendency to look for the same exact patterns that allow you to achieve those similar results or obtain the same type of markers that you're chasing. So like for a challenger player, I think it's fine. Or a pro player.
Let me ask you then, because you've done a lot of things. StarCraft, League, you said Hearthstone. Do you feel like if a new game came out and you really wanted to play, like Battle Royale came out, if that shit, you wanted to play that, do you think that you could be like a top dog in there if you put your mind to it?
I think anyone who's ever had high competitive experience at another game can probably get to a high competitive level. I don't think that a pro could just jump game and become another pro. I also think that there's been very few people in history, I think, that have done that have jumped from actually being pro at one game to being pro at another, unless you include like jumping into a game at its infancy. Like let's say a Warcraft 3 pro went into StarCraft 2 when StarCraft 2 was a year old. Well, the Warcraft 3 pro could probably be a pro in StarCraft 2 because he's carrying over so many patterns. But then when the game gets more refined and it gets more understood, sometimes it's difficult. Maybe the person's passion dies out and they begin to taper off and they're not a good player. If like you or any past League Pro or current League Pro or something goes into Fortnite, you actually have ambition, I think that you can get to a really high status relatively quickly, but I don't know if it means that you end up being a pro after a year or 2 years. once the game's more refined. Because I think that I think what it takes to be a pro, or what it means to be a pro, isn't being in love with the idea of it. I think it's actually wanting it, and actually wanting it pushes you to do things like those refinements and pattern seeking that you do when you're in love with the game and you like it and you're enjoying it and you're looking to improve, that you just won't do if you just like the idea of being a pro.
Wait. Okay, so my question to all this is, how much does talent matter then? One, does talent exist? And two, how much does it matter?
Oh God. I think talent, I think talent exists, of course. Because, I think that one of the greatest examples of talent is, you can look at like high school, right? This is an example that I use pretty often, but I mean, you can also see it in other areas of life. There's going to be the kids that they sleep in class all the time, they still get straight A's. And then there's the kids that they go to every department night, they do all their homework, they try to pay attention, they take notes in class, and they struggle to maintain C's. And obviously sometimes, you can angle it from, well, that person needs to be taught or educated differently in order to receive the same material, and then process it and be able to succeed with a good grade. Well, the fact that they need the special catering when the other people don't means that obviously the other person has a better predisposition to receiving the material, processing it, and all this other stuff. Those people exist in school. I know everyone knows them. I remember them. There was a girl I felt really bad for. Every time I talk about this, I think about her. She would go to every single department night. She worked a part-time job. She did all this other stuff, took care of her family. She had a bad life sort of thing. She tried so hard, and she would only ever get B's as her highest grade. But then there are kids that just slack off, do fucking nothing, they get straight A's. And academics aren't going to be a marker for everything, but I remember something like Thorin said in a tweet where you give so-and-so player 2 years and they're still never going to be as good as Faker. When you need special treatment, or when you need special things to prop you up in order for you to compete with someone else, clearly you're not in the same position as them, or that you don't have the same degree of talent. But I mean, this is a way deeper topic, right? I'm sure that you've probably looked into this yourself, Skara.
Oh, I mean, for me, it's just interesting because I know my skill set that I consider to be my strength. So if I switch game to game, I know I'm gonna be good at this game, or I'm gonna be bad at this game. And a lot of it's okay, well, my reaction time is relatively slow, and especially a lot of the mechanics that are required in shooters, I'm really bad at. But additionally, since I've literally never used a controller in my life, pretty much, for a lot of this stuff, anything that uses a controller or a gamepad, like fighters, I'm also pretty bad at. So I look at that and I think to myself, it's not that I can't ever be great at those games, but the time investment I would need, I've always thought about it as if I'm good at something, it'll take me less time to be good, to get really good.
Right.
So if I wanted to be good at a shooter, I wanted to be an Overwatch, great, right below professional player, I'd probably have to put in a full year or more, Mm-hmm. But if I wanted to be good at any other MOBA, for instance, or I'm not quite sure exactly, maybe even no, I don't think I'd be good at RTS. I guess the only thing I've ever been super good at have been different types of MOBAs, like Han, to some extent WoW Arena, so maybe Battle Royale would be a type of game I'd be good at. Would take me a lot less time, like half a year. And so I think for me, I can just see my strengths in this and my strengths in that. But for me, it's never just you can never do this, where I feel a lot of people feel that way, they can never be diamond in League, for instance. I get that question all the time. I'm for me, anyone can be diamond.
Anyone can be diamond. Yep.
The amount of time you have to put in, depending on your starting floor, might be more than other people.
Right. Do you think anyone could be challenger? Both of you guys?
No, not anymore.
I used to think anyone could be master as well, but I think even now the game has gotten pretty refined.
Yep.
And so I think that right now I'm saying anyone can be diamond. Guaranteed I can get your grandma to diamond in X amount of time. Actually, if they were super serious about it, they could do it in a year or 2 years or some X amount of years, playing a specific champion. But I think that challenger is actually super hard to get into. Like, even if you're trying, you're not guaranteed to get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree back on, like, the talent thing that, yeah, there's a lot of players, like, this is something that I've always said on my stream or whatever, but there's a lot of just players in general where I feel like for a pro player, if you've been on a team for, like, if you've been on, like, 5 or 6 different teams and every time you haven't performed, you're probably, like, you can't go above and beyond that anymore. Like, there's so many different ways that people have tried to cater to you. It hasn't worked out. It's like, you know what? This guy's probably just fucking doomed. Like, there's no helping him. Like, I don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not. Maybe this is like a bit too much. Cause I mean, even pro players, like, obviously to be a pro player, you have to have like a different mindset. But like, that mindset doesn't help you, like, if you're just fucking bad. Like, that's just it. Like, if you're just bad, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I personally think if you have a good mindset, you can get to being a pro player. Like, if you're able to, like, take in information and, like, process it, you can be a pro player. But to, like, be a good pro player takes a lot more than just being able to, like, be fed information. Yeah. I don't know if you got...
I think... Well, using there's the pros that like the idea of being pros, and then there's the pros that actually like the pros. And I think that it's very easy to differentiate between the two pretty quickly, just by having a few conversations with them or looking at their track record on social media, the things that they say, or actually the amount of effort they put in. But I agree with you that there are people that they're just never going to make it beyond where they're at right now. This is a talk I have with a lot of academy players or a lot of challenger players, because outside of like the teams that come here for boot camps, a lot of people get set up right nearby me in a Goshitel. Like, it's like a prison room size living arrangement that's like $300 a month. They come here for like 2 to 3 months. I'll interact with them on and off. People from EU West and NA, challenger players, whatever. And one of the most scary things that I don't think that they're realizing is that unless Riot does something with the resident rule and every year that's ticking away, NA will keep losing import slots. Current NA residents that are able to fill LCS resident slots will taper off into Academy, and then eventually Academy will start to get filled up too. And unless Riot intervenes, and even if they intervene, then you end up looking at Blizzard and what happened there when Blizzard region restricted the Koreans and whatever else. I think NA players, because of culture, and because of the emphasis on social media and branding and their obsession with being able to make a tweet and have all of this power despite being a teenager or late adolescent, whatever, I think it gets to them. And I don't think that they actually want to be a pro. They're infatuated with the idea of what being a pro can bring. And that's when it becomes problematic.
I actually know a lot of people, or like a couple people that used to play in the Overwatch League, and they just burned out. Like, straight up. They're just like, I used to think I wanted to be pro, and after playing one season of Overwatch League, I'm done. Like, I cannot do it. The grind, the grind day in, day out killed me. Like, I won out, you know.
Is the grind in Overwatch League worse than in League, or is it the same? I have no idea about Overwatch League. Like, I don't even know how the games are played. I thought they were played, like, a set of games, like a month or some shit. I don't know how often it is.
They run all their seasons consecutively. So, like, imagine we're running, like, both the splits just straight in. So, like, they do, I think, 4 splits in a row, and then the finals. And then they just do it back to back to back. I think there's a week break in between each one, but they just run it, like, and they have a championship each split. So it's like they run the whole gauntlet. They rise up, they run it again, they run it again, they run it again. And it's like crazy, to be honest. Like, it's brutal.
Wait, that sounds fucking awful. What the hell? I don't know anything about Overwatch League, but that's how they, like, structured it? That sounds like... Dude,
and they're also getting, like, a lot less paid, right? Because it's their first year, and so a lot of the players didn't get signed for much. Like, you know, people in League of Legends are getting over $250,000. But in Overwatch League, like, that's, like, I think the very top of their salary. Most of the people are just making, like, borderline 6 figures at the very, like, across the board. And now they're getting signed for like 2 or 3 times that because Overwatch League is super successful. But the first year, I think that people were just like nuts.
Damn, that scheduling though, if I was playing on that shit, I'd burn out too. What the fuck? Like, if I had to play just
they have 10 people rosters, to be fair, to like out of 6. But and I want to make sure that like I'm being correct on this. So I'm like trying to look up the stages to make sure. But I think that's the case. They do 5 weeks. There's 4 stages in the playoffs, and it's 5 weeks each stage, and the stages run consecutively. And you're playing like every week.
Wait.
So they play 4 days a week. It's like I think Overwatch League has a lot of. It's like that one thing. What is it called? Viewer fatigue. Where imagine if NALCS ran like 4 days a week, you know?
Yeah, no one would watch that shit. You kidding?
Yeah,
After
so
like the
people usually tune in for like the finals or stuff like that. But yeah, I think Overwatch League is like to even watch the games is like it's a struggle.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. But I think we've talked about this topic enough. Let's go to the next one. So Riot has allowed co-streaming for the first time during NALCS Gauntlet. How's the experience streaming the games?
All right. So specifically, I saw that LS ended up streaming the games. I did too, QD. I don't know if you ended up streaming the games, but I saw like a lot of other people like Frog and Mo. I think even Tyler did a little bit. I'm not sure, but a lot of people ended up streaming. Like, I just wanted to throw the question in because I saw LS do it a lot.
Yeah. No, I think it was awesome. In Korea, I think Riot Korea or LCK but they let known personalities. They've been doing that for a while. Like the Korean streamers will just stream over the OGN broadcast or the SPO TV broadcasts, like previous casters or pro players or whatever. And they've done it for a while, and I've always wanted Riot to do it for NA and EU, and I know that some people have like gotten away with doing it in the past, but it's not a frequent thing and it's technically not allowed, so Riot can just take down your channel. I thought it was really, really good, and it was some of the most fun I've had streaming in years. And I think that like the ability to interact with chat is different than like having an overlay and a timestamp, and they can understand what you're talking about. You can draw on the screen. I think it's fantastic, and I was hoping that they would allow it for Worlds because that was like a test, but it seemed like it was really good for the League of Legends section.
Yeah, Are you?
I will let. Go, Keith.
Are you surprised that they didn't allow it for Worlds? Because I figured that the reason they did this is they wanted to test it because they want to do it for Worlds. And it seemed like, again, it did really well from what I could tell from, like, looking at it. Like, wait, Scar, what are you laughing at?
Hit us.
Okay. So, like, obviously I can't share too much, but I've been talking with the League just launched their partner program. Currently, alongside some benefits, like there's a giant Discord, and I talked to the person who runs the League Partner Program, and we actually just talked about this specific thing about literally broadcasting Worlds, and she's working on it actually. And definitely, I told her I don't expect to broadcast any part, like the whole part of Worlds. I think it'd be stupid by Riot to let us, but like a specific stage or a specific like set of games would be great. Like I'd love to do that still, you know. And so, like, she said she's gonna try her best to, like, make it happen. And I don't necessarily know if it's going to, but, like, it's something that they definitely want to, and they're looking into. I don't necessarily know, like, you know, the behind the scenes, why they can't do it or why they couldn't or don't want to do it. But, you know, from my perspective, it's great. It's like, cause it's so weird. When LCS comes on, it feels like a conflict of interest for me to stream because I want to, like show off or like promote and like not conflict with the thing that made me popular, right? With something that like I have put a lot of years of my life to and I like respect. But for my brand, I should be streaming during the same time slot as LCS. On top of the fact that like a lot of my viewers watch LCS and it overlaps, so my viewership generally is lower. It just feels like LCS is such a weird thing. I always told my viewers that like if I ever consistently streamed over LCS, that's like a big problem because it means in my mind I don't really care about the LCS anymore.
That's what I always told my stream. Like they'd always ask me, "Why don't you stream over?" I'd only stream over if I didn't give a fuck about League of Legends anymore. If I just said I don't fucking care about this dumbass shit, I'm just streaming through it. That's the only reason why I'd ever do that. But yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely weird. Like it is like a huge conflict of interest because it's like, yeah, LCS like made us. Or I guess me and Scar. LS, you played or you coached an academy.
Riot saved me, okay?
Yeah.
We got that.
Yeah, it made all of us. So
Yeah.
it's just weird to like stream over it or whatever. I think with co-streaming, it's fucking amazing. I want them to allow it for like all the regions because, like, honestly, the thing is, I want esport, like Riot Esports. I don't give a shit about other esports. I want Riot Esports to do like the best that it can do. And I think like someone like LS should be allowed to like stream the games because people enjoy watching it more than they enjoy watching some of the casters. And like whether you disagree with me or not, and whether someone disagrees with me or not, that's fine. But like there are people that enjoy watching it, hearing it from him than other people. And like they should, maybe there's someone that enjoys listening to me say some stupid shit during LCS over like the casters. That's fine too. Like I definitely think that it's good. I'm like, I hate Fortnite, the game, but I'm happy that it came along to force Riot to do all this shit.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
I'm just saying, like, Fortnite, I hate the game again with a passion. I just have to keep restating it. Because there's plenty of people that keep telling me to try it out, and I just have to make sure that it's fully known I hate the game. But, like, the things that they're doing to Riot is, like, it's fucking amazing for everyone. I mean, it's amazing for, like, content creators the most. Because, like, Riot, they got the fear of God in them now. And that's where we reign supreme then. But, like, just being able to stream LCS and stuff is great. I didn't actually take part of it, but I think if they allow it for Worlds, I'll just fuck around. Why not? Maybe I'll co-stream LS and Scar. I'm a cutie pie stream Worlds. That'd be kind of cool.
I think one of the coolest things it lets you do is actually collaborate in a different way. Yes. Dude, League of Legends streaming collaborations don't exist. Like, collaboration is like something people use on YouTube because you combine two talented people, they come together and they do something. That's a collab. In Twitch, a collaboration is you duo queue with someone and you both release highlight videos on your montage channel. And like, for me, I'm like, is that a collab? Like, or is that just like, you're in the same game, you're on comms. Like, I don't think that's really, like, a collab. And so, I think this is the first time, like, I saw you, Ellis, didn't you do co-stream with Loco?
Yeah, I did Loco. I mean, so many people that I haven't talked to in forever reached out asking to do co-streams, and I'm like, well, I already promised Loco I'd do, like, the streams with him. But the amount of connectivity that I think the whole thing granted was great. And now, like, people are messaging, like, oh, if they do Worlds, do you want to do this? And so I think like what you're saying is totally right, that it's different because collaboration on Twitch doesn't exist outside of like a podcast.
Yeah, and to be honest, like that's great. Like it's so nice to be able to like do something new with people. Like even if it like talk about something and do live reactions to current league like esports is something that's like pretty impossible to do outside of Twitter, you know? Yep. And so like having that like immediate closeness, like in the perfect world, and I already pitched this to Riot, by the way, so this isn't anything new to them. In the perfect world, I see it this way: we're allowed to co-stream the play-ins and the group stage, and so what happens is you know who would love to co-stream the play-ins? All the wildcard teams have, I'm sure, streamers who are like who will follow the national teams, and they'll help build the storyline going from play-ins to group stage, and then everyone can funnel the viewers into Riot's mainstream for quarters, semis, finals. And I'm just like, for me, that's the perfect storm, right? I don't need to co-stream the whole event. Like, I understand, like, that's pretty hard to ask. But, like, especially with MasterCard being their, like, premier sponsor, I don't know exactly what they need, but I'm sure they need numbers, you know, for the finals cast. So, but for the individual streamers, and like the national streamers to be able to follow their teams, because I really only care about North America. I really want to watch group stage. You know, I'm considering just messing over my whole schedule for it. And then I want to follow their like journey through group stage, and I really want to talk about it. So I'm sure that's true for all the other teams, the national teams. And so that's like my perfect world. If I could do that for Worlds, that would be fantastic.
Yep, I agree with you on that. And that's that on that topic. Let's go to the next one then. So LS, you've said many times a tank meta brings out enjoyable parts of League of Legends. Why is this statement so true?
I think that the slower and more forgiving a game can be, Well, it goes both ways. If the game is a knife fight, you can also exert skill because one mistake leads to you losing the game, but I think that the slower and more forgiving a game can be allows skill to show more in the mid and late game stages, which I think is the more complex part of the game. And so I think in that regard, it's more artful.
I'll say I agree with you 100%. This is something that I've talked about so many goddamn times with my chat. It's like pissed me off where it's like, I hate the game when it's just a complete like kill or be killed because there's no skill. Like the decisions you're making, am I gonna one shot him? Yes. Okay, he's dead. That's not
Right.
like, oh my god, this guy's a genius. It's like, oh my god, he bought his dust blade and he just insta killed him. Way to go, dude. It's not like some crazy shit. I hate. I much prefer when the game's just you make a lot of decisions. Like I'm playing Vayne.
Yes.
I get to like decide, okay, do I want to stealth here? If I stealth here, where do I move? When do I open up? Do I wait the stealth timer out? Like that kind of shit. You don't really see it that much anymore. I think that Vayne will be a popular pick at Worlds. Maybe, hopefully, so you'll see some more of her there. But I think if the game can be something like that, it's a lot more entertaining than when it's just you killed someone instantly. Like there's just nothing entertaining about that. Like when I watch LCS, listening to the casters, like they'll cast like Akali just insta killed someone. It's like, oh my god, she just killed him. It's like I saw Dom tweet about it, and it's just like it's so true. It's like who gives a fuck? Dude? Like yeah, she got 2 kills and now she's just gonna run over every fucking person she runs into. This isn't like, oh my god, this guy's an amazing player. It's like, oh my god, this champion's fucking stupid. And like, Zoe is another example where it's like, there's not, like the skill expressions just, okay, I one-shot you. That shit's just fucking lame as hell. I want to see slower pace, but the thing is, I don't think like Riot wants a slower paced game because they've been trying to make the game as fast as possible. So I don't know what kind of balance there is there, but I definitely think that a slower paced game makes for a more, I don't know if it makes for a more enjoyable viewer experience, to be honest, because I don't know what a casual viewer, like maybe you guys can chime in on that. Like, what do you think a casual viewer enjoys from League of Legends? Do you think they enjoy seeing like a slow-paced, methodical, like, oh, they're just picking them apart, or just
hell no. They want to like generally like
They
I
wanna
see
bloodshed.
yeah, they want to see blood. Like I want to see like that 20 kill game by 20 minutes, you know. But from like a completely like, you know, objective like casual standpoint, like I like it when games are like that.
I mean, I like seeing bloodshed too. I love 20 kill games, but the thing is, I want to see the 20 kills come from like expressing skill on someone, not just pressing
yes.
one button and insta-killing them.
All right, my real question here is, do you guys remember when dragons were worth gold? And every single game, you had to team fight dragon. Like literally, you're. It didn't matter when you spiked. You spiked on some certain dragon spawn because you had to. If you gave up more than 2 dragons in a game, you were just giving up too much gold. I think you were giving up like 1,500 gold, and then you just lost the game anyways. So the game was built around like. It was slow up until the dragon. And when the dragon happened, like, I remember being forced to tell people to set this up a minute ahead of time because it was so important. And like, did you guys like kind of that kind of methodical play where you could get kills, but it was based around like an objective that literally meant if you lost it, you lost the game?
Yeah, I think the gold dragons are better than the current dragons for viewership, or for viewing experiences. Because obviously, like what you're saying, it entices people to fight more. It's a higher priority. I think from a strategical standpoint, I don't like it as much because it does force the nature of the meta to be a certain way, to focus around it because of the proximity of bottom lane and mid lane to it, and then what it means for certain jungle matchups. I think regardless of whatever happens, though, pro play will always gravitate, even if it's not tank meta, it'll always gravitate towards the tankiest type of team compositions that can possibly exist to allow for like what Cutie is talking about, which is the slower team fights or more options or having more time to make decisions in later stages. I think it's always going to go that way, regardless of how quick Riot tries to make the game.
Do you,
at least for pro level.
Do you think though that that's a bad thing? Because I know that Riot, like,
No.
they try to like force some shit into the meta. Like, people always ask how this shit becomes meta. Like, Riot decides what's meta. Like, if Riot tomorrow wants you to do some stupid shit, you're gonna start doing that stupid shit because they're gonna patch it in. Like, do you think that's okay? Because we've talked about Riot should let like players try to figure out how the game should be played and let it evolve naturally, that kind of stuff. Or do you think it's better for them to just like, you're doing this now?
Scar, you want to go first?
There's some states in the game that I think are good. Like, I think that like when you have states long periods of time where Riot doesn't change much and the meta can stabilize, you're able to see more like outside the box picks because then you can develop specific counter matchups or to certain specific styles that exist in that specific meta. So like and then sometimes the current meta is so degenerate, I want it out like now. Like, I don't want to exist in a meta where literally only Aatrox is available, and you like if Aatrox is like the best pick ever, and you can only play Aatrox and like Fiora, which it seems like it's maybe closing on that, but at least there's like Urgot, Scion. But imagine you can only play like Renekton, Shyvana, right? Top lane. Oh, I want to get away from that meta like as soon as fucking possible. Like this world's meta is really interesting because for some roles, I think that like they did a great job in terms of champion diversity. For instance, I talked to Acadian last night about the jungle, and he's like, I actually think the jungle right now is great. You could, especially in solo queue, but even in competitive, you can play like different styles that you want to play. There are certain things that are better than others, but like if you want to play like an aggressive skirmishing jungler, there's options. If you want to play a tank jungler, there's options for that. You can play farm-oriented jungler that still scales. There's options for that. Like, you have a lot of options in both physical and magical damage in the jungle right now, and I think that's great. But like, there was periods of time in the jungle where that was not true, and so. You know, I don't know. I think that I like it for it to shift if it's bad, but if it's good, please elongate it as much as possible. But it's tough for them to figure out. Like, I don't know. I think it's just a tough question to answer. I guess, Alice, what's your take on this?
I proposed the notion. So when I went off in one of the patch rundowns, that I got fed up that they only touched like 20 champions for like 4 months or something, realistically. And the changes were minor and basically didn't do anything. I compared it to Hearthstone, where I don't know if anyone here like plays it casually still or something like that.
I used to play like I got Legend like a season ago or so. Okay. So like I know the current meta, which is like fairly infested with druids and odd rogue. But yeah.
I don't know like the meta, but like every once in a while I'll play Hearthstone and you log in and you see that a card's been changed. And for a casual person that just wants to play Arena or a Tavern Brawl or whatever, that doesn't mean shit to you, realistically, right? But for the pro players whose lives depend on it, it means it can completely break a deck, or it can change a class now suddenly being viable, or whatever, even though we don't really pay attention to that. And so that's where I got fed up with Riot's patch notes, where a lot of people on Reddit always tell me, well, you have to think about the majority of the player base. And I sit there and I ponder and I'm like, well, the majority of the player base probably can't even fucking tell that these patch notes are happening. And then also, they realistically probably can't feel the difference. And then we also have like objective data on that, like the ribbon changes that happened years ago where people claimed that they could feel the ribbon changes, hadn't gone through yet. And we have all these other things that, outside of like win rates, because people hug those all the time, I think Riot can be more reckless with some of their changes because they've shown, especially this year, a willingness to hotfix really quick. And like what Cutie's saying, if they want something to be meta, it will be meta. We saw that with Kindred. And what I like, one of the things I look forward to most in season 4, 5, 6, 7, and I haven't gotten to see it really much this year, is waiting for the patch notes and expecting at least one or two things will now be new. sort of like a new expansion in a card game. I love Hearthstone's new expansions. I love logging in, playing the arena with the new cards, seeing the new cards, doing the new adventures, etc. League stopped doing that this summer, where realistically the meta basically stayed the same. There was almost no new additions outside of the reworks that caused them to be new additions. Aurelia, Akali, Atrox. And so I don't know why Riot doesn't overtune one champion every, 2 patches. And then if they're overtuned, they hotfix them. And slowly they can integrate and cause a new cycle of champions without it breaking or shattering anything. Because it's only one champion at a time, which means that it can be banned out, or it can be answered relatively quickly because there's going to be a pool of viable champions. That was something I suggested to, I think, Riot Maple, but I never got a response on Twitter. And I even asked to talk to any of the Balance team, but I got replies indirectly through Twitch clips about certain stuff, but I would prefer that they overtune champions, hotfix them every 2 weeks, just 1 or 2 champions.
Would you prefer if they're champions because the thing is I don't know. I mean, obviously they don't forget about champions, but sometimes it feels like they just forget about some champions. You'll just never see this champion for 10 years. Someone like Garrett, he was popping up actually. He was kind of getting played some, but he's a champion where he almost never gets touched for he hadn't been touched for 3 years or some shit. You want to see those types of champions get something, or the champions that are like Ashe. I mean, she's pretty good, but she could get a little bit more, something like that. You prefer the Ashes than the Garens, or would you prefer just anything?
I would prefer them doing kindreds all the time. Ashe is interesting because I feel like Ashe falls into a category of a champion that becomes viable based on everything around her rather than her herself. She relies on other things being present. Sivir is another really good example of this. Okay. Malzahar is an example of this, unless his numbers are overtuned.
Yeah, I can agree with that then. I mean, I'm down if Riot, actually... Because, yeah, a lot of the patch notes, everyone's read them, cutie, read them. I'll read them, and it's just what a waste of fucking time this shit is. They'll just do just some stupid shit that won't matter at all, and it's just great, another useless patch. Good shit. I mean, you guys can tell, maybe I just, because people always tell me, go in depth, cutie, give me the in-depth stuff. Do you feel like the league patches are just nice, another useless patch?
I think someone who else said the last couple of patches have been that way because they got really scared because of you, Cutie, and your compatriots, the AD carries, complained so much about the AD carry role.
Dude,
and the death of League of Legends.
Let me say something.
Hey, stop changing shit.
I didn't say the death of League of Legends, but I said that this change is fucking awful. Dude, I remember we had Meddler on Beyond the Rift. He asked us, he asked a specific question. Someone can find the clip. He's like, Cutie, what would you change about AD to open up the bot lane? I said, nerf the regen and bot lane. What did he do? He nerfed the regen, the base stats, the items, the fucking scale. He nerfed literally everything about the fucking role.
So you're saying you're the reason that it got nerfed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying fucking I'm saying I love Ryan Meddler, and he's a great guy. But that's why I'm worried that sometimes it feels like they have absolutely no fucking idea how to go about changing numbers to make it reasonable. Obviously this is their job, so they know better than me, and I have no fucking idea about game design or any of that bullshit. But I don't know. I felt what were your guys' take on patch 8.11? Did you feel like that was a good direction for the game to go on? That was.
I thought that was a good direction.
Yes, I did.
I actually really loved that they opened up bot lane, and then I think they got really scared, and so they now the only thing that's powerful bot lane is still Heimer, I think, and maybe Swain in certain situations, but only 2 champions can exist bot lane now.
Yeah, I think I like the concept of what they were going for, but the execution of it was just this is awful. And, like, they just ended up reverting everything. Like, it's basically like that shit didn't even happen at this point. Like,
Dude, they trained 80 carries for 5 years like dogs, and then they realized that if they took away the only role an 80 carry champion can go in, that the players who play those champions can't play the game. That's just what happened. Because, like, if I'm playing a mid lane, like, I could play, like, a mid laner in top lane, or maybe I can even play someone in the, like, support position. But, like, you can't take Draven mid lane for the most part, you know? Or you certainly can't jungle or go top lane with Draven. And so, like, I think 80 carry players are some of the least flexible in terms of, like, playing other stuff. Because, like, when you play 80, you're, like, just primarily focused on, like, specifically the bot lane, you know? And I don't think that changes. Like, to be honest, I loved the idea of 8.11, and I realized why they couldn't do it. And I got really sad because I think that, like, I would personally love to play Mage's bot lane, but yeah, you kind of just alienated, like, 10-15% of your player base, 20% of your player base is not a good idea.
yeah.
And that scared them off from changing random shit, dude. I remember when my patch notes would be 30 minutes long, and now I'm just, like, looking at the patch notes, I'm like, oh, they just micro change stuff. And I guess this goes to LS's point. So this year they did a really good job at not having really bad champions. They've done a lot of micro buffs to bad champions. I think that's something no one talks about. Riot did a really good job this year on this. So from slightly buffing Garen to actually making him pretty strong, 4 buffs on Lux, 2 buffs on Brand, like making like these really shitty champions go from there are no F tier champions anymore. They're only like D tier, C tier champions. And Riot slowly patch cycled them in. So like the worst a champion is right now is like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Wait, let me ask you though. Who do you think? Because Chad always asks me, Cutie, who's the most god awful champ? I'm like, there's no really god awful champions in this game. And then I look at Volibear. Do you like?
He's actually great.
You say he's great?
No, he's actually good. I can play Voli right now.
Who do you think then is the worst champion? Can you think of one off the top of your head? Because I was like running through the champions. I was like,
it's hard. They're all not that bad. Like even Mordekaiser has like good matchups. You play him in a certain situation, you can still play. Like people say Ivern shit. I've seen good Iverns. Like, and I know there's certain situations where you can play good Ivern. So I don't think there is a bad champion in the game, like a terrible fucking champion.
Ellis, do you think there's a champion where like if let's say you were coaching a team and they were like, I need to play X champion, you were like, dear God, no. What would that
I think I gotta give it to you on Volibear. I
really?
The thing is, Volibear is like, that's the most one-dimensional champion to like
he's not
that
bad.
No, I will say maybe he's not bad, but that champion's exactly the type of champion Riot wants to never ever make again. Like he's literally run at someone. Like that's it. Just run at them, and then you don't do anything because you're useless.
I'm literally gonna play Volibear right after this podcast because I'm just to prove you guys wrong. I'm telling you, ever since his E change to knockback, he's not a bad champion. Can't believe I'm hearing this shit right now. But anyways, before that, I would say he was a shit champ. Like literally like F tier champion. But like, yeah, Riot scaled up the champions to like a 5 or 6 at minimum. But now it's weird because I agree with Ellis. They hyper focus on like 20 or so champions, and they try to adjust them from like 7 to 8, and they don't want to go too high. So one patch will be 7, one patch will be a 9, another patch will be 8, and they'll just move them up and down. And I'm just like, does this champion need this much attention? Like, does Pyke need an ulti buff? Does Kha'Zix need a rebuff on his stuff? Why did Kha'Zix get touched at all? Like, why didn't Volibear get touched? Like, why can't I get buffs on Volibear?
You know? I agree with you 100% on that. Like, the nerf that they did on Kai'Sa, it's like, dude, this bitch needs a lot more than, like, nerfing, like, the 2% fucking max health damage. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, they've been working on Kai'Sa or whatever. Like, that champion's just disgusting. Just butcher that bitch already. Like, There's no need to be like, oh, we're going to nerf like 5 damage off her Q. Wow, that wasn't enough. We're going to nerf like some other useless shit. Let's nerf 20 base health. Wow, that didn't change anything either. It's like, just fucking nerf her into the ground and just be fucking done with her. Like, I'm so tired of seeing Kai'Sa, Varus, just these stupid champions every single fucking game.
The most mind-boggling buff to me was the Cassian buff, because I was just like, wow, did this champion need this buff? Like, are you serious? A second off his ulti and he worked with tier on his W? Like,
yeah, those were massive.
Yeah, I can't believe they did those Cassian, but now I permaban them because I can't stand playing against that shit. Like, that buff was just, some of the buffs, that's why... Some of the buffs they do is just like, I don't understand like what the fuck they're thinking with this shit. Like, I've never seen Cassian and I've been like, this champ's entirely fucking useless. It's like, well, I mean, he can actually solo kill people in lane and he can scale up and, I mean, he can do stuff. So like giving him a buff on top of that is just like, whatever, man. You do you, Ryan. I don't give a shit. It's your game, man. I don't get what they do sometimes, but I mean, are you guys happy overall then with like how Riot's been going about this season entirely? Because like a lot of people ask me, is this the worst season you ever played with? I'll say the worst season I've ever played is Dynamic Q, and it will be impossible to ever top that as the worst season, because like Dynamic Q is like, when I played that shit, I wanted to quit this fucking game. Like, it was just like, Jesus Christ, don't make me play this shit again.
LS, what do you think the worst seasons were? I have 3 off the top of my head.
I can't agree with Dynamic Q, only because it didn't really do much in Korea. Koreans didn't really use it that much, like, in the same way that it was getting used in NA and Europe. I mean, obviously, there's some cases of people queuing up together and whatnot, but it wasn't really that prevalent in Korea. I think it's actually this season, I didn't like how stale and stagnant everything was, because Korea is also, it doesn't matter what MMR you play at, it is 100% meta. If you don't pick meta, you're going to get flamed. Bought Chinese accounts that'll flame you if you don't pick meta. Everything is just a nightmare in that regard. So it's either this season or scripter meta on Korea, because everyone was scripting. It was like you had a scripter in 1 in every 2 games. It was so disgusting. And then script plays off of ping. So like NA Zeroths or Zereths, whatever you want to call them, still has to abide by the ping, but in Korea it has 7 ping. So good fucking luck.
Wait, there is a season of just scripters in Korea?
Oh yeah. And Riot didn't do anything.
What season was that? Was that when Kog'Maw was like, when he could just like orb block and literally just fucking go from point A to point B, just auto attacking the whole time?
Yeah. I think it's season 6, and there was like a ESPN article way back in the day about this. There was a PC cafe in Shinsadong in Korea. And I knew about it from a Korean friend, and there was like, that was the cafe where like 200 scripters, elo boosters, drop hackers, they all just fucking met up. And it was like I don't know, it's like a plague in Korea, but that was the cafe that they were all at. Everyone who scripted, that account shared, bought accounts, win traded, they all played out of that cafe. It was so disgusting. It was such a nightmare to queue up.
Jesus. Yeah, because it was fucking bad. I'll say, like, I haven't played against a scripter, and, like, God knows how, like, Riot got rid of all of them. I don't know if there's still some of them in Korea.
Korea has anti-hack in client now.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah. So, I don't know exactly how it works. I've been told, I could be wrong here, if you input, if your, whatever the fuck it is, inputs too many commands to the server within a second, because scripting needs to input hundreds of commands in under a second in order to do the stuff that it does. If too much goes in, the account just gets banned.
Oh, what the fuck?
So I don't know exactly how it works, but Korean client has anti-hack.
Damn. Wow, that's kind of cool. I don't know. Yeah, wow. I'm surprised the NA client doesn't have that then. That's interesting. Damn.
That's sad. other scripters on NA?
No, I haven't played against a scripter in a while. Yeah, when Kog'Maw used to be able to like orb walk, I'd play against Cogs. They're basically they just moonwalk and auto attack the whole time, and it's just like you just like throw your hands up like I just gotta play against this shit. Especially because I'm the one bot lane, so it's just like. What the fuck do I do, dude? Like, the worst thing, too, is, like, I'd play against them for, like, a week straight until they finally get banned, and it's just, like, every time I queue up, well, they've picked Kog'Maw. You can't see the enemy team, but you know it's the fucking script, and it's just like, here we go again, man.
Wait, I had a lot of mid-Zerats, and, like, I started just opening full regen. Like, literally, I would just go, like, I knew I'd get hit, so it didn't matter. Like, I just played around it, but it was pretty dumb. Like, legit, really stupid.
Yeah, actually, the best thing was whenever I knew I was against, like, a Kog'Maw scripter, like, they were trying to snipe me or some shit, because a lot of them would just, Cutie, I'm a huge fan of the stream, that kind of bullshit. I just tell my support, pick Zillion, and then he just slows them and, like, I don't know what happens with the scripts, but they just start, like, freaking the fuck out because they can't actually do anything since they're so slow. Let me tell you guys in chat, if you ever play against a COG scripter, pick Zillion. That shit destroys it. 100%. But, you know, we've talked about this topic a lot. Let's move on to the next one. Let's go to... A lot of times, it's very frustrating to have high expectations of players and let down in your solo queue game. How do you deal with these expectations when you try to climb? I mean, I guess I'll start off with saying you should never expect anything from, like, that sounds too, like, yeah, I was going to say you should never expect anything from anyone, but, like, you know, to a point, that's correct, but, like, especially with, like, strangers, if you're going into a solo queue game and you're expecting to play with, like, Faker, and you're, like, gold or some shit, you know, that's pretty unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations can lead to a lot of problems, not only in solo queue, but in life. So it's best to, like, keep your expectations in check. Like, when I play games, it's just like, you know what? Everyone's just fucking around. Who gives a shit, dude? It's not like, guys, let's rally together. We can win this shit. Get your minds in the game, everyone. It's just like, well, teams flaming each other. Who gives a fuck anymore? Like, what can you do? Everyone starts arguing with each other. Do I expect them to, like, resolve their argument? Is one of them going to be like, hey, you fucking idiot, you need to use flash? And someone, oh my god, wait. You're right. Why didn't I flash right there? You tell me some more, dude. No one's ever going to do that shit. It's just going to be them flaming the whole game, and yeah. There's no reason to, at least in my experience, there's no reason to expect anything. Unless it's like you're playing with like a pro player or some shit. And that's like a whole different topic, but yeah. What's your guys' take on high expectations in solo queue?
LS, you want to get started off?
Oh god. I think if you have a team stacked of professional players, then you should expect, and they should also sort of be held accountable, not in like a flaming manner, if they're just clearly inting or not doing something. But I think like if you're like Diamond or Low Master or something, knowledge and skill is not linear in League. People get Master through different means. 500 games of Janna, 500 games of LeBlanc. They're two entirely different worlds. People aren't going to know the same things. They're not going to be capable of the same things. And really, unless it's all pros, I don't think that you can expect anything. You can expect things relative to what should be expected out of an MMR. Like, if you're a top laner and you have 6 spellcaster minions and it's freezing, and your jungler is at wolves or something, and the enemy top laner is getting zoned, he doesn't have teleport. If you're high enough MMR, you should expect that the jungler can come and just kill the enemy top laner, because the enemy top laner is already bleeding. And if he doesn't, then you probably have Tarzan on your team. But from there, that's stuff to get frustrated with, because this is it should be progressive with game knowledge. Like if you go back in season 2, they're not going to know what the fuck roots are inside of the jungle. But as the game keeps evolving and seasons keep coming out, and pro play becomes more known, academy players now exist. What I mean by that is there's more pro players in any region. I think that more should be expected over time.
Ooh.
But, yeah.
I mean, do you think, though, it's, like, healthy to have those expectations? Because, like, I know a lot of people, they get very frustrated where it's like, dude, you're not even trying, like, that kind of bullshit. Like, do you think that, because I know, like, Riot, they'll come, like, if you start, hey, dude, what the fuck are you doing? No, don't talk like that. You can't talk to your team. Don't treat your teammates like that. Do you think that that's like, is it okay to get frustrated like that at your team, or should you just be like, whatever?
Well, that's what I meant by if they're a pro player. I think if it's a pro player, I think having a dialogue should be fun. Not flaming them.
Having a dialogue?
Dude, let me say something. Having a dialogue is flaming. I don't think anyone goes in, hey, let's just have a conversation about what just happened.
This is one of the weird. So in NA, I know it's not common. I also know that NA pros are secretive. Like if they find out something new about a pick, or they find out something, they want to keep it to themselves until they can use it on match day or something, right? Whereas Koreans will put it out there unless it's like a very specific pick, like a match. But if they find like a glitch or a build or something, it's going to get found out, talked about relatively quickly, because more pros are friends with each other here than I think in NA, like closer friends. And what I mean by that, or where I'm going with this, is like the players respond to stuff differently. I remember I got into a huge argument with SOFM. This is like 2 years ago. He's the player from Vietnam? I think he's from Vietnam, or he's from Vietnam. And he flamed me for not rotating to protect his jungle. I was Victor, he was Graves. He flamed me, and then I wrote back to him, and he said, why? Like, question mark. Why do you think that's not the case? And he added me after the game, and we talked. And he was fucking furious. I could tell that he was furious, but he was trying to understand. He was trying to have an open dialogue. And I had this interaction with SOFM multiple times in solo queue. I'd tell him I can't collapse, or I can't do this, and he'd be like, why can't you? And I'd be like, the minion wave. If I hold this wave, they lose more CS. They're like, is your CS more important than my wolves? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, really? And then we talk about why. This happened so many times with him. He comes to the top of my mind. But I've had the same interaction with Korean players. And I know that in NA that's not common.
Yeah, hell no.
People do that? What the
Dude, let me say, I've tried to like tell people, like I'll be like, hey dude, you need to do this, and the response, I'm not even I'm not flaming you, dude, but you need to start doing this, and it's just like, why are you gonna fucking tell me what to do? What the fuck's wrong with you? Let me play my fucking game. It's just like, dude, I'm just trying to fucking, like, it's just like, what do I even say to this guy? Like, maybe I should start adding people. Hey, bro, let's talk about what just happened in this game. But I'm pretty sure most people will be like, get the fuck out of here. Don't you ever add me again, and just block me right there.
Sorry.
No, I just think when you get high rated in League, like, it's such an accomplishment for the people who try that, like, you automatically have to gain a little bit of ego. Like, for someone who's been trying, like, all season or all, like, years to get Challenger or years to get Masters, like, when they get there, like, it's why, like, people look down on Diamond, right? It's like, haha, Diamond won, right? Like, why, like, I'm back in the Diamond mines again, you know, stuff like that, because, like, you get that level of ego. And I don't know if that's necessarily true in other regions. And I think in NA it's definitely more true than elsewhere. I think we perpetuate it too amongst all the streamers and the high elo players. It's like the idea that, like, if you're not Challenger, you're awful. And even my own personal perception, like that's true as well. Like I personally think that's actually true as well.
Hey, I mean, I agree with that too, but that's even more reason why someone should be willing to take in like information. That's why I don't understand it. It's just like
I think everyone gave up on everyone else.
No, I 100% agree with that. No, like, yeah, I feel like most people just feel like it's a lost cause to like even bother with other people in solo queue. I don't know, maybe it's like a cultural thing because I don't remember who I saw. Someone like talked about like cultural stuff or whatever about like NA compared to Korea, and like NA is more like individual or some shit like that, and I actually agree with that because a lot of people in NA, they're only out there for like themselves. Like there's no like, oh wow, you really think that? Let's figure this out. Like, because I disagree with you, but I actually want to know more about your thought process. It's just like you don't like hearing that shit. You think someone's fucking trolling? Like if someone told me that in solo queue when I told them like, hey dude, you fucked up here. It's just like. Is this guy fucking with me? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you just don't ever expect that shit. And that's because, I mean, maybe it is an ego thing where I'm the only one that's right. I don't care what anyone else has to say to me. But, yeah, I have no idea if it's... you can go.
No, I remember... another thing that's going to happen, I think, in NA... or at least I see it more commonly in NA than so coaching Americans and Europeans and stuff, not just in League of Legends, but also in Hearthstone in the past and StarCraft. Europeans tend to be more open-minded, and I wonder if it's because of the cultural diversity that they're forced to be more open-minded and receptive to different outlooks on life or different perspectives of stuff because they're way that the countries are and everything. I think in NA, you can have a failure to agree on reality. And it comes up way too much at high MMR. The thing that comes to mind immediately is the Night Blue 3 Tyler 1 Baron thing. No one. I mean, people argued with me as well when I was trying to talk about like what Malzahar can and can't do in that situation. And you have so many players that just can't agree what champions can do. And that's a really big fucking problem when you're talking about challengers or master players. Because it means that you can't actually properly assess situations when no one can agree what all the champions are actually able to do rather than what the champion will do because of who it's being piloted by.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There's like a lot of things where it'll be like, I'm just like talking to someone, it's like, I don't agree with you, and it's just like, maybe we will have a back and forth. Like sometimes someone will have like a back and forth with me, and then the whole time, I don't agree with you. I don't agree. It's like, why am I even stop typing to me, you fuck. Like, if you're not going to try to understand what I'm saying at all, what the fuck's the point of me even typing that? Like, it's just, that shit makes no sense to me.
I think people are more perceptive the lower elo you go. Like, receptive, I should say. Because, like, I've actually had conversations where they come into my chat, they legitimately ask me, what can I have done better there? And I lay down, I'm like, this is what happened in this scenario. This is what we ended up doing. These were the better options. And they're like, thank you for that. Like, and, like, I remember when that happens. Like, it happens, like, once a month. You know? But
like a Diamond player, or?
Yeah. Like, I've been stuck in Diamond for, like, a month and a half now. Or 2 months. Okay. Like, I've actually remembered specifically like 2 situations where this happened. But like when I'm in like the area around Master and Challenger, it happens a lot less frequently. Because everyone there, like, it's because everyone there knows each other, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, it's impossible to disassociate personal skill with, like, right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So like, if you think you're better than the other player, you're always right.
Right.
That's just how it is. So like, and also people tend to hyper focus on laning. So like if I outlane you, I'm a better player. And if this jungler interrupts the lane, then he's a pussy and he needed the jungler. But I'm still the better player. That's actually how how it is.
That's how I think. That's the damn truth right there.
But like, you know, there's so many more talents outside laning, right? You could team fight really well. You could like rotate really well. You understand the game better. But like when we're talking about player versus player, I talk to any player in Challenger, any player in Masters, it's always, I beat this guy in lane. Like this guy's worse than me because last time we played each other in lane, I got a 20 CS lead. or a 15 CS lead.
Let me add though, to be fair, if you're getting a 20 CS lead, you might be a worse player. And it's hard to like tell how good a player is outside of lane in solo queue. Like, I don't know how it is in like different regions, but in NA, like, the game just evolves so much. Like, outside of laning phase, it's just like, I mean, this guy's down 30 kill. Oh, he just picked up a pentakill. Well, I guess he must be a fucking laning, or he must be a gaming genius to figure out how to get that penta. Like, some of the shit that happens is just like, it's hard. Like, I definitely understand why people like value laning phase so much and like NA, and why it's like the only thing that matters, even though it's obviously not, because it's hard to tell. Like,
no, I think this is a bad meta for that too, right? Because in this meta, laning means a lot.
Yeah.
And like conversely, for junglers, laning means a lot too. So like, dude, I watch a lot of jungle streams. Just randomly, I just end up turning on Dom stream, Tarzan stream, stuff like that when I'm relaxing. And like, their view on the game is like, it's like, I'm always the better jungler, except for when my laners lose.
Dude, I swear to
And
God, let me say, I swear to God, I think junglers have like, they don't even play, like, the way they look at League of Legends isn't like the way anyone else looks at this game. Like, some of the shit I'll see them say is just like, they're just so out of it. It's just like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, some of the times, I'll have a jungler that just AFK, like, they'll pick Kha'Zix, they'll AFK farm the entire game. They'll be like, dude, I need a scale for late game. And the enemy team has, like, Sion, they have, like, Urgot mid, they got, like, fucking, just a bunch of tanks and shit. And it's just like, dude, like, no matter how much you scale it, you're gonna be useless as fuck. And he's just like, no, dude, let me just scale it. Just shut the fuck up and just play your lanes. It's like, I don't even know what to say to some of the junglers sometimes. Like, I don't know, like, Ellis, how is it like in Korea with, like, do you feel like, I guess, how does it feel with, like, do junglers have, like, a huge ego? Because I feel like in NA, junglers' egos are fucking, like, enormous. I don't know if Skara agrees with me or not, but
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. But, like, I kind of get it. Like, they're the punching bag, right?
I don't know if they're the punching bag, but
I think they tend to be the natural punching bag, because if you lose lane, you can always be like, oh, it's my jungler's fault. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the problems is that NA and EU have, but I think this affects junglers more than any other lane, is if a jungler can't play lane, he's missing out on so many fundamental aspects of the game. He doesn't truly understand what is happening in some of the lanes. He picks his champion, he understands damage foresight, how, fast he's going to move to a certain lane, what the gank's going to do, etc. He doesn't know what it fully means for a lane. In NA, when I watch streams or when I talk to players, top lane is very much so a 1v1, mid is a 1v1, bottom lane's 2v2 for the most part. And junglers actually are their own lane. They have this 1v1 mindset. In Korea, top's 2v2, mid's 2v2, bottom's like 2.5 versus 2.5. Junglers will collapse with you. Mid laners will immediately collapse, give up CS and everything, if they know that it's more important, like for the jungler. Like if they know that the jungler needs it to happen. The instance that I gave earlier about like a freeze happening top lane, enemy top laner doesn't have teleport, he's at like half HP. The jungler will just come top, not fucking gank, and just stand and like let the enemy top know that he's there, just to bleed him out of minions. All the boot campers, I mean, they're talking about this right now in like Twitch clips or Twitter and whatnot. It's been a pretty common knowledge thing for years that junglers interact with their laners as if it's a 2v2. Very much like competitive, like top and mid lane. So it's not the same. And then like the instance that I gave you with SOFM, it's very common. Like unless you get someone like a Chinese player telling you that your mom's going to go Sky and she's boom and stuff, you're going to get people that'll talk with you.
Dude, talking is weird. I'm not going to lie. Like, people don't talk anymore.
Yeah, I wish that League had voice chat, because I feel like it'd facilitate that kind of thing a lot more. Like, obviously, maybe in Korea, like, there's different languages, because a lot of people play on the Korean server from, like, different regions or whatever. But like for NA, just being able to like have a dialogue with someone and try to actually like reason with them instead of typing out this bullshit is like, I feel like it'd be kind of nice. I'd like it.
Yeah. I think in NA, maybe voice comms are more needed than other regions. Whereas, like, I think other regions can solve problems, like, through text. You know, for NA, like, I don't know if it's because we grew up a lot with console gaming or whatnot, but, like, it feels like nothing ever really gets resolved unless people are talking.
Yeah, you gotta talk it out, dude. Like, I agree with that 100%. Typing to someone, it's just a fucking waste of time. Like, you're never gonna get anywhere typing to someone. I want voice comms. But before we move from this topic, just one more question. Because we were talking about it. Do you guys agree or disagree with me that jungle is the role where people are mentally deranged? Agree or disagree? I swear to God, jungle attracts the most mentally unstable people.
I want to say if you look at all the permanent players and sort by role in North America, I would guarantee you, Tyler 1 being the exception, that jungle is the most banned role by far. Like, not even close. How do you even flame if you're like a support player? Like, how do you flame if you're a Janna player? Like, actively? So like, I think just by that nature, like, it's like a process of elimination, right? Like, it's just jungle just flames the most, and in NA, it's like not even close.
LS, do you think jungle attracts a certain type of person?
Maybe in NA. In Korea, it's I think it's probably ADC. It's ADC
really?
or top in Korea.
Wow.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Damn, I don't ever see anyone type as ADC. No one fucking...
ADs don't even type anymore. All they type is when something goes wrong, they're just like, either go next or they just LOL.
Yeah.
Like, passive aggressive.
Wait, what did some of the ADCs say in Korea? Do they actually just start going fucking ballistic or no?
They refuse to walk into the lane until the support leaves and goes.
Let me say something. I 100% love that because I do the same. I won't refuse to walk in lane, but I'll get the fuck out of my lane. Stop leeching experience. I'll just tell. I want a quick 6. Stop leeching my experience. I know that shit. Like when I dabbled a little bit in Dota 2, and I know that's like something that happens in Dota. I'm pretty sure that shit's dumb as fuck to do in League, to tell them don't leech my experience. But I tell my support that shit all the time. I know it's like, I can completely understand why they do that.
I can see top laners though being flamers, because for top lane, it's like the perennial like man lane. Like that's like the 1v1, you're in a gladiator arena. But like top lane is actually a 2v2, but they pretend that it's a 1v1, and they get surprised when the junglers, they're like, holy shit, I can't believe the like Lee Sin's top lane in this like glorious battle to the death. It's like, that's how I see top laners. Like, they're just like infatuated with the idea that like they have to just solo the other top laner.
Yep. Alright, let's go to the next topic now. So young player asks, how do you become a pro League of Legends player? What would you reply with? Jesus, dude. What would I reply with? How to become, like... Dude, I feel like this goes back to the topic we were talking about before. If you want to be a pro player, it's not something that's like... You can't, like, become a pro player. Like, you just are... Like, when you start playing a game, like,
yes.
If you can just start, like, picking things up, you have, like, some kind of natural knack for it. I'll be like, hey, dude, you know what? You got a chance. Let's fucking go to the lab, figure this shit out. But if, like, I see someone start off playing League of Legends, it's like, what's this? This is an ability? That's, it costs mana. It's just like, I mean, maybe League of Legends isn't your game, dude. Maybe don't play this shit. Like we said on the other topic, there's just some people pick things up quicker. If you can do that shit, maybe you got a chance in League. But like, yeah, when I see those Reddit threads and it's like, I'm bronze 5, I'm going to drop everything in my life to go pro. It's like, yeah, I love that they have the ambition to do it, but it's just like, Jesus, dude, like, fucking do something else, please.
I get so many messages that I don't know how to reply to. because like it's like a diamond or a platinum player telling me that they're like borderline suicidal, they're going to drop out of high school, League's all they do, and there's also just so many people that are like, I've been playing League for 4 years, but I'm finally deciding to take it serious and become a pro, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
A lot of people don't realize, like, you can take something not serious and still do, like,
and get good.
Yeah, like, you don't have to go all out to get good at something. It's just when you want to be really good at something, you need to actually start putting in the effort. Like,
look at the season 1 pros. All of them, they weren't full-time fucking League of Legends players. They all went to school. They all did some random shit. But like, they played 6 hours a day, and with the 6 hours a day they played, they were top 50 on the ladder. When someone asks me this shit, I tell them, if you're not already top 50 or top 100 on the ladder, don't even bother, because like you don't have the starting point. You know, I think that it takes that. If you could do that part time, all right, you got a chance. I could maybe see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Go.
No, I was gonna say. So, what would you reply with to a young aspiring pro league player?
Don't.
Well, yeah, I would say don't. Absolutely not. So I actually get asked this question a lot, like the last few years. So I'll just tell you guys what I often say. So I've never found a current pro player that I've talked to that did not tell me that they hit a high MMR within the first 2 years. And when I say a high MMR, I mean the crossroads, where you have a choice. Like, am I going to take this more serious now, or am I just going to keep playing it casually? I've never met one yet, and I've talked to so many from NA, EU, Korea, whatever. They all hit the crossroads so fast. I think if you just start League, even if you've never touched a MOBA or something, if you're taking it semi-serious, I think you can hit like D5 in 6 months. I think that's pretty reasonable with the amount of information that's on the internet, how easy it is to just hone in on obvious metrics like what's my CS average, how much damage am I doing, am I consistently solo killing my opponent. If you can't do all of that and then hit the crossroads within 2 years, I don't think you're ever going to be a pro, because the game is also moving forward as you're trying to catch up in the first place. So your brain or you have to be able to process, compute everything, and then catch up in a reasonable fashion, and then still have the willpower and the urge to keep refining on that. People aren't just going to have that.
Scar, what would you say then? You just tell them hell no?
I clip that and just send it to them. I'd be like, okay, this is all you need to know. LS, take it away, dude. Here's the Twitch clip. Like, no, it's perfect. I actually agree. I think that like, it's doubly true for the game is constantly learning. Like, actually, like that's like, I'm sure if like I took like a couple year break from League and came back for 4 or 5 months or 4 years later, I'd be like, what is going on? You know, like, and then having to relearn all that, like, it's like a real test to see how good you are. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, I just want to, because the way you worded that was like perfectly just to drive it home for like any young aspiring players here. Yeah, if you're Silver 1 and you're telling yourself, okay, I'm going to start taking it serious now after you've played the game for like 3 years, like taking it serious isn't your problem, dude. It's just, it's not going to work out most likely. Like the way you word it, that was like perfect, because that's, a lot of people ask me this question and it's just like, yeah, like, you can either do it or you can't, and you can tell pretty quickly. At least you should be able to tell pretty quickly if it's something that's possible. So, yeah. Let's go now to the next topic. So, we're going to talk about Riot just announced an Iron tier below Bronze and Grandmaster tier above Masters next season. Are these changes good for the game? So I'll start off by saying I've actually started playing Tekken, and I'm god-awful at the game, and I'm fully aware of that. But, like, feeling the progression of going through, like, different ranks makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I'm, like, getting somewhere. Obviously, it's, like, absolutely meaningless because I know that I'm bad, but it makes me feel like a sense of accomplishment. So I understand why adding these tiers is, like, good. I personally don't think they matter at all because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a cool little title you have beside your name that means absolutely nothing. Like, a pro play, like, just being challenger doesn't mean that this guy's going to be a pro player. He's challenger. This title right here, it ensures him challenger. It's just a title next to your name. Like when you start getting to like the top percent, it's like a whole different thing. Like Grandmaster is obviously not even the top percent. It's like the second tier to the top. So it's just another useless title that you can have. I mean, what's your guys' take on it?
I have a pretty loaded take on this that it's kind of fucked up. Well, not like fucked up, like bannable, but like, this is something that I've been having a lot of conversations with, cause like I have a sub Discord and then I have, like endorsed coaches, like people that, that I've vetted to coach or whatever, public people, because I got so sick of like Gamer Sensei and fucking league coaching or whatever. And so in my experience, I never, and it's subjective of course, I've never run into a legitimate bronze player that didn't have an issue. And so this
wait, let me clarify, what do you mean by have an issue? Cause have an issue, like, what does it mean to have an issue?
Oh shit, this is where, oh fuck. Okay, so, oh fuck, I shouldn't be laughing at this. Shit, fuck you guys, holy shit. Alright, so when I say legitimate bronze player, I mean someone that's actually trying to play the game. They hundreds of games, maybe even played for a few years or something. I've never met one, nor have any of like my endorsed coaches, and again, it's subjective, that didn't either have a physical disability, but also a mental disability in some regard. Like, I've met schizophrenics, I've met crippling clinical depression, I've met, I've just met people with, like, learning disabilities, autism, whatever, and they are all bronze. And obviously, I've also met people with those conditions that are higher up, but it almost always feels like bronze players have something wrong. And when I saw the iron tier, I'll be completely honest that, like, I sort of got, like, a pit in my stomach because I feel like it's going to only further increase. And there's only going to be certain people that go into that tier. And it almost just feels like it's like this fucking – did you ever see, like, Snowpiercer? The fucking train that has all the cargo, like, and it separates. It's like a hierarchy or a tier system or a caste system, whatever the fuck it's called.
So you're telling me iron people are, like, untouchables? Is that what you're saying? I'm just terrified.
Oh my God. Jeez, I didn't realize this conversation was going to take this turn. My God. Ellis, we're just asking you about what do you think about the fucking title.
Iron's fucked up.
Jesus.
I think Iron's wrong. I really, like, and my sample size, obviously, probably, I don't know what is the exact number of people in bronze. And also, I'm only talking about people that actively play. But when you have fucking bronze and you have iron, it's going to take effort to get to iron, I'm assuming. Like, it's going to actually take a commitment.
Dude, that's why, let me say something. We're all laughing here, and, like, obviously, it's nothing to joke about, but I say, like, the way league ranking works or whatever, it's like one of those, I don't know what they're called, one of those stupid ass charts or whatever. There's two sides of it. Like, there's challenger, and, like, you're at the top percentile. You have to be, like, a unique type of character to get to this. And then, obviously, on the tail end of that, there's, like, bronze 5, and, like, I legit have no idea how someone could be bronze 5. And, like, I know it's a terrible thing to say, and, like, if you're bronze 5 and you have, like, 10,000 games played, dude, rock on with your bad self, because, you know, you do you, man. Don't let anyone take that fun away from you. But it's just, like, yeah, it's interesting to hear that's, like, what you've experienced as, like, a coach who's, like, probably known more bronze 5 people than, I guess, me or Scar. Do you know anyone that's like bronze 5 0 LP?
I do not know a single individual.
Do you know anyone who's bronze 5?
I don't know anyone who knows anyone that's bronze 5. But it's maybe because I just don't talk to that many people, you know.
Yeah, that's the.
I've coached a bronze 5. I felt so bad. The guy told me he has schizophrenia and he's on meds and stuff, and the game's slow and everything. I've coached multiple bronze 4s and 5s, and again, it's only subjective. But then also, I get like the feedback from the people that are endorsed coaches. And, like, there's bronzes that get into silver, and they just don't actively play the game. I checked their season history. They play 100 fucking games a season. I'm talking about the people that have hundreds of games in bronze. I've never found one in my subjective experience that didn't have an issue. And it can't just be a physical debilitating issue, because we have, like, Misty Stumpy.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. We have there was a guy that he uses, like, a straw or something. He's, like, silver 1 or he's gold 5. And he's in like a wheelchair. Like, there are people with physical disabilities that can get higher MMR. It has to, I think it has to be like multiple things.
Yeah.
And that feels so fucking bad. And I hope that to God that I'm wrong and that my experiences have just all been a fucking coincidence, but holy shit.
Okay. Now that you bring that up, though, that's actually a really interesting point. Because, like, I joked around, like, haha, you have to be really bad to be iron. But, like, the fact that, yeah, like, iron's just going to be, it's going to feel really fucking bad to be iron. Because, like, if you're bronze 5, you're the same, like, you're basically the same as all bronze people. At least in people's eyes. Like, obviously, bronze 5 compared to bronze 1 is, like, it's like a whole different ball game in terms of, like, percentages and that kind of shit. But, like, yeah, if you're iron compared to bronze, it's just, like, I don't even. That is a really interesting point that you bring up.
Okay, another take on this is I really like it. Not the fact that they're adding a tier for you to make fun of people below bronze. I like the fact that they're adding more tiers. Mm-hmm. And the reason for this is the exact reason why the Master tier was added in the first place, right? Because so many people are stuck at Diamond 5 99 or Diamond 1 99 LP, pushing for the 200 spots in Challenger that literally I could win 6 games in a row and not hit it. The idea, and this is true for all of League of Legends specifically, is that when people like to learn, they like to see progress. Like, progress is like what incentivizes and motivates people to keep going. The problem about League of Legends, and I've talked to this with people like Weldon, you know, actually personally speaking, is that a lot of improvement in League of Legends is very staircase-like. It's like you work a lot and you don't see the progress up until you figure it out. Like something clicks and you got it, and then it's another stair. So it's just like up, you know, then progression, then up, then progression, and the same is true for climbing. I especially think around the diamond situation area, like I think that having another tier there is really helpful because you're just able to see progress easier. And I think that for the large majority of the player base, like adding more ranks is only going to be more helpful. And so I actually really like this change by Riot. I don't know if they needed to change down from 5 divisions to 4, but it doesn't super matter. I like the fact that they have extra divisions now.
Yeah, sense of progression, like I said before, I think that it's great. So anything that can make people feel like they're accomplishing something is a good thing. I was going to talk about the iron thing, just one more thing on it. Like, before we started talking about that, do you guys have a problem with them adding? Like, I was really hoping that they wouldn't add something below bronze just because of the fact that I feel like if people place iron, they might not want to play the game anymore. Like, I can't imagine if someone was, like, struggling with bronze the whole time, this new ranking system comes out, they just demote to iron. It's just like, I don't want to play League of Legends anymore. Do you guys see any, like, maybe problems with player base might not be too happy with it?
I think that it is a problem, but it's something that can't really be fixed. Like, especially because if you want the rank system to aspire to be what it's supposed to be, which is like competitive people play ranked, then the system is built in a way which rewards that. And tries to encourage other people to as well. But for the most part, you know, like everyone who plays ranked or wants to climb in ranked is relatively competitive. And, you know, and normals are there for a reason. So if you're scared, I know so many people come up to me. They're just like, I'm scared to play ranked. Like I get ranked anxiety. How do I overcome this? Like, is this a problem? I'm like, dude, no. Like it's not a problem. You just try to make it natural, or you don't have to do it, right? You can just play normals. It's not a big deal. That's how I see it.
I'm worried about one thing that I don't think even higher MMR players don't realize it. If you're Diamond 1 Season 3, Diamond 1 Season 4, Diamond 1 Season 5, 6, 7, 8, you have gotten better every year.
Oh yeah.
Because what it takes to stay at that MMR. One of the things, like what Cutie is talking about that I'm worried about is a player that's down in the, I mean, most people don't even realize that, even when it's actually happening. They'll just be like, oh man, I'm stuck Plat 1 4 years in a row. And I'm like, you've actually gotten better every year. You're not giving yourself credit, and you don't realize it as such because of the way that the ranks work. I'm worried that a bronze player goes down into iron and he gets back into bronze, and he doesn't realize that because of the way that the new tier was added, and then because of the fact that there's only 4 tiers now inside of bronze or 4 divisions, he's actually improved. But he might not see it as such, and so it could demotivate.
Yeah, I'm mostly worried about like the player base becoming demotivated, because I don't know, like other regions they seem to be doing great, but I know NA like solo queue.
We need players.
Yeah, we need new players. And if you get a lot of new players just demotivated because it's like, I've been grinding my ass off, I just got fucked by this new system, I'm just gonna quit this shit. Even though obviously it's not the new system that's fucking them, and it's like not correct to think that way. That's like how someone will feel about it. Like,
so would you have been okay if they had added a new rank, not iron, below bronze, but like let's say they added emerald after plat? Would that have been better for you in your eyes?
I think like if it's something where you don't push people down, because pushing people down is, I feel like, the worst thing you can do. Like you want to kind of maybe lift them up a little bit. Not like, maybe not the people at bronze. Yeah, like something like emerald maybe would have been maybe okay, but yeah. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a problem. Obviously, like, Riot's a genius company and they know best and shit. Like, I'm not saying this sarcastically. I actually mean it. So, like, they probably have the data to, like, figure out, like, yeah, the player base won't be affected this much by it. But it's just one of those, like, thoughts in the back of my mind. I mean, whether or not it happens, there's professionals at Riot that have probably trained, like, years of their life to make sure that this shit works. So I trust them. It's just... yeah, but alright, let's go now to the next topic. Most of us on the show do not watch any games outside of the NALCS.
Thanks,
with
Kitty.
Worlds coming up, what non-NA team should we be interested in, and what are NA's chances at Worlds?
So, in terms of overall teams, I don't really know, because I don't watch all the regions as well. I predominantly only watch Korea and NA. Although not team related, but I think that watching Rookie at Worlds will probably be a treat for many people.
I'm so fucking happy. Sorry,
because I don't think people realize that Rookie has probably been the best mid laner in the world for over a year now.
You know who also has talked about that in another position? Score. I have not seen either of these players. Yeah. People talk about to me every year. Actually, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think Rookie is going to be a treat to watch for a lot of people. That's actually what I'm looking forward to the most, because I was really actually sad about Korea's representation this year. I want to see if China takes it. I think if China is going to take it, this is definitely the year that China can take it. I think Korea did not send its best 3. And I'm actually worried about Korea going up against IG and RNG. So this is actually quite a scary year, especially because it's on Korean soil. So that's kind of nice. There's a lot of story in that. NA's chances at Worlds though, I actually didn't see I just realized I didn't see the fucking groups. Wait a second. I'm sorry.
Really?
I haven't seen the groups.
Everyone but C9 got great groups. Actually, 100 Thieves got the best group they could possibly hope for, and TL got a great group. Literally, this is NA's best hope.
Okay, hold on.
In my objective opinion.
All right.
Wait, so you think Scar then NA? Because everyone's saying C9's doomed, but
every year NA lets me down, and it feels like it's more and more pessimistic every year. And so this has got to be the year where they overcome that. You know, it's either this is the year where they step up and they all advance past groups, or this is the year where I get clinical depression. So I'm just trying to figure out. I think it's going to be the year where we have 2 teams leave out of groups, at least 1, hopefully 2. If it's 2, I'm happy.
Does Cloud9 go into Group C if they?
No, they go into Group B.
Oh, okay. So
if all the first tiers get in the play-ins they go into Group B, into Group of Death.
Okay, I mean it looks to me. I mean, Mad Team's terrible. They lose to 3rd tier teams in Korea. They lose to KG teams. Team Liquid should be able to get out of Group C and at least go to quarters, and then depending on if they get like an H2K bracket, they can go to semis. If they meet a Korean or Chinese team, I think they just get knocked out. For every other group, though, I don't see a way that an NA team makes it out.
Right.
I'm sorry.
All right. One team, Team Liquid,
Scar,
is our hope.
What do you think?
I think 100 Thieves will overperform expectations and still might not make it out of groups.
You built it up so much and then still not make it out of groups.
I have weirdly high expectations this year. I have no logical reasoning. This is the year I've seen the least amount in NALCS, and I think that might be the reason why I'm so hopeful, because I don't have enough information. My ignorance is showing here, and it's great because I can just pray and hope. And this is like, I feel a lot better about it because, I don't need to stand on statistical, like any numbers, any past experiences. I could just be the casual viewer and be like, you know what? I love America, American Pie, dude, let's go. Let's make it out of groups. That's what I'm
Hey, I can get behind that. I mean, I'll say I haven't watched any competitive games at all, but I'm going to go with Team Liquid because I love them. And I'll say C9. C9 usually does best internationally, right? Or no?
This is a really ugly year for them.
Yeah, but I feel like every
they are our best national performing team every year.
Yeah, I feel like every year it's like C9's gonna lose groups and then they manage to do exceptional. It's
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like C9 they got some magic over there or some shit. I want to say C9 TL, but again, I haven't watched competitive, so my opinions were absolute jack shit.
You're probably going to be right. That's the glory of this, dude.
Yeah, that's the glory of it, because we're not analysts. Our opinion don't mean it. If we're right, we get praised. If we're wrong, no one cares.
Wait. LS would be an
analyst.
Yeah,
LS is an analyst, but I'm saying me and Scar, no one expects anything from either of our opinions. Let's be real here. Yeah, no one expects anything from the two of us, so we can just say whatever we want. If we're right, we get praised. If we're wrong, no one gives a shit, so... Perfect.
Yeah, if we're wrong, they'll be so busy flaming the NA team they'll forget what we said.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. It's perfect. All right, let's go now. Let's go to the live question and answer segment on Discord. Ladies and gentlemen, you got questions, we got answers, and we're going to be real glad to answer them right now live. So let's go onto the Discord and see what would happen. Let's start off with, I think, a great question Alex asked, and a lot of people always want to know about it. Do you think streamer culture has overall hurt NA as a region? Because a lot of people, they'll talk about Korean, they're not all about streamers, all this kind of bullshit. I don't know anything about Korea, but I imagine there are streamers in Korea. I can't imagine that there aren't. I don't know if they're highly rated. You can go into that for us, but what do you think about streamer culture and NA compared to Korea? And do you think it's hurt NA as a region?
I do think it hurts because I think that it's not good for practice, and I know that at least in my experiences, Koreans don't want to stream unless it's a requirement by the team via some sort of a sponsorship, unless they've already retired or they're planning to retire.
So who do you think it hurts NA more, me or Cutie? Just random aside.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, if NA streamer culture is the reason why, NA is underperforming, who do you think has been more,
of a
impactful?
detriment?
You think Cutie? Yeah, more of a detriment. Like, who do you think has caused NA talent to suck? Is it me or Cutie? Who's been more important?
Well, Cutie outright quit before he went into streaming, right? So I guess you.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Wait, what?
This guy
he was streaming when he was pro the entire time.
This guy was an analyst and he was streaming on the side. I'm just gonna throw that out for Scar. Scar is the problem. Scar used to coach CLG. He'd tell me he'd coach him. He'd get on stream. First thing he said, "I fucking hate coaching this dumbass team."
That's not what I said.
Okay, it might not be entirely
one
correct.
Day a week, dude.
All right, but. I'll admit maybe like I am a bit of a problem, but like, I mean, back to what you were saying, Ellis. So, do you think like it compared to Korea, it's a lot worse? And
yeah, I think I think naturally you're gonna play worse when you're streaming. I really have never met anyone that claims otherwise, that they play better when they're streaming. I think it's a distraction. I think that you can't maybe even talk about or have some of the conversations that you would like to have with peers while you're streaming, because other teams could be listening or whatever. And I think that it's toxic to have a subconscious pressure on your mind that can be influenced by streaming. Like, why don't I have this many viewers? Or what's going to happen to me if I lose an LCS and I don't have any viewers and I don't have any subs? And you start worrying about all these external factors that don't actually pertain to the game itself. And I think it hurts your overall skill.
Do you think then that NA, if they just said you're not allowed to stream anymore, do you think NA would be able to produce better talent because of it? Or do you think that the damage is like kind of already done to solo queue? Because I know a lot of people, they make it sound like it's irreversible. Like nothing will ever save this region. It's just fucking doomed. Like these streamers caused it, and they're gonna reap what they sow one day or some shit.
No, it's not. It's not the streamer's fault. If you look back historically, Warcraft 3, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2, any game that's not a fucking console game in which other regions don't play it, NA doesn't win. NA just does not hold the title in anything. People will say Super Smash Bros. Melee, they have more players, but then you reference Armada and Leffen, and like NA wins at Mortal Kombat. No one fucking touches it. They get their ass kicked in, I believe, Street Fighter and Tekken, right? Because Asia actually cares about it. There's some other games that Europe beats their ass in. But when you look at the historic games, Star 1, Star 2, like I just mentioned, NA doesn't perform. They perform very well in the first 1 to 2 years because they look for all the innovation. NA is very cheesy as a region. They want a fast means to an end. And that helps out in the chaos of any game's infancy, where no one knows what the hell's going on, and NA is obsessed with finding answers. I think historically, NA's only chance at getting better is the death of other regions, and we've seen that in other games like Dota, where it began to taper off in China, and obviously the international is, it's still a premier tournament and it's still really big, began to taper off in China because of League of Legends and because of Warcraft 3's resurgence. You look at StarCraft 2, NA players are having the most success they've ever had historically because it's dead in Korea. And it's also dying in other parts of the world and whatnot. Even if the numbers are up, competitively, team houses don't exist, whatever. StarCraft 1, NA tapered off and died in the early 2000s. I think it's the same thing. It has nothing to do with streamers. It has to do with cultural problems, infrastructure, and I think that it's not going to be fixed.
You think it's not going to be fixed?
I don't think you can ever fix it. I think that we have 20 years almost of documentation across these sports games that it just won't be fixed.
Damn.
Because unless it gets culturally accepted, but that's not in our generation.
All right, fair enough.
Great, so I can keep streaming and ruining talent, NA talent. Thank you. Jesus. God bless you.
I'll say,
I knew.
Yeah, let me say, like, whenever I see those kinds of things, I'll say I agree on some points that, like, maybe streamers don't take the game seriously and shit, but, like, dude, it's hard to take the game. Like, I want to flame the fuck out of people. Like, when I see someone do stupid shit, I'm like, hey, you stupid fuck, what the fuck are you thinking? You need to do this, this, and this. But that's because, like, I feel like in League of Legends, it's so easy to take an aggressive tone. Like, it's hard to be diplomatic and be like, well, excuse me, you should have actually done this, and I think that this was the better play at this time. Like, it's easier to do, hey, you dumb fuck, listen to me. Do this shit and shut the fuck up. Like, that, it's just so much easier to go around doing that. But, like, no, Riot doesn't want you to be like that. No one wants you to, like, just start flaming people. I want to flame people. If I could just flame people 24/7, I think it's great. Like, I love Tyler 1 because he just flames the fuck out of people. And that's just great because that's what I feel like the game, like, people need a boot in their ass sometimes when you play solo queue. I don't know. In Korea, do people get like if someone's just doing stupid shit, are people like, hey, you dumb fuck, get your shit together. Go.
Oh, Korea. Korea's great. Let me just tell you this. Tyler 1 would not have been banned in Korea. Okay?
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea.
Yeah, like, I don't think that kind of style is bad. Like someone should be, like, if someone's, it sounds stupid as fuck to phrase it like this, but, like, if someone's misbehaving, someone should, like, punish them. And it's, yeah, it sounds, okay. I don't know a better way of phrasing, so.
Usually it's like the father figure or like, you know, the parents.
Yeah, I don't want it to be Riot though, because.
No, I thought that, high MMR, like, Diamond, like, alright, so how many games are actually going on, like, D3 and above at any given time? I feel like. Right. I feel like a staff of 8 rioters or less, 8 in maybe the beginning, could actually monitor that shit. And genuine reports would be taken seriously, and you false report, it goes against your account. You lose the ability to report. And over time, eventually, the fear of surveillance, I think, keeps people in line more.
Oh,
that would be
so
dude,
funny.
let me say something. The amount of times, like, I'll get in a game, someone will just feed their ass off. They'll just, like, build stupid items, go, like, stupid summoners, just pick a stupid champion, feed, and then they go next. And then my chat's like, Cutie, why didn't you report him? I've reported this guy like 20 times already, dude. Do you think the 21th report is going to be the one that, like, ding, 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 a 21th report on this guy from Mama Cutie Pie. All right, we got to ban him now. Again, 21 reports, that's too much right now. It's just like, the reports, they don't fucking do anything. It's a waste of time. I'd rather just go on, not dwell on the game. Just move on to the fucking next one and just not bother type. Like, what could I possibly type up? You want me to type a 10-page essay? So to start off, my thesis on this guy being banned is because, like, no one's gonna read that. I don't even think anyone at Riot reads the comments on the report. They look at the score. This guy, he didn't have a great game. I don't think that's reportable. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And that's it. It's just like, I don't know. I think, yeah, if they had, like, 8 people that just, all right, this guy's clearly feeding the entire fucking time. This might be a problem. He's just saying stupid shit in chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 8 at the beginning, and then once the fear of surveillance becomes a real thing and people are like, oh shit, you know, Big Brother's actually watching, you can even cut it down so that they're not actually spending costs or budgeting.
Oh, and then when Riot promotes it, they're like the arbiters. You know, they give them a specific title. That'd be funny, dude. And they never revealed their existence to the shadow surveillance people. I like it. I like
that. That would actually be pretty cool, though. I like that idea a lot. But let's go to the next question.
Get like one more, man.
One more? Okay, we'll start off. We'll just end with this one. Okay, Bella wants to know, considering all you've said before, a lot of it, in the opinion, is caused by one tricks or people that play only one lane, like jungle's not understanding. How many one-trick ponies are there in Korea, and how many in NA, and what do you think about one-tricks in general?
Oh, God.
Oh, man. That's loaded. I think one-tricks in Korea, it's a little bit different because you have to figure out a way to make, and I'm speaking specifically for higher MMR. One tricks in Korea, you have to figure out how to make your champion actually work against the meta. And then also function against people that are trying to refine, that are obsessing over refining, and they're trying to do every punish correctly. I think it's really, really impressive when people make it work. And I think that to be a one-trick I've met a lot of really stupid ones, but then there are ones that just like they have to know the fucking game to get away with what they do, like the challenger Garen that plays Garen mid-top support and jungle.
Really?
He's been on Faker stream and stuff. You have to know what the fuck you're doing to get challenger on career with Garen by playing him in 4 roles. Like that guy just has to understand like what's going on in map movements. But you've also heard Double F's been vocal about the other streamers. This boot camp's really fucking good because people can no longer claim I'm just paying everyone off on PayPal. Everyone's claiming D2, D1 Korea is just a different region almost comparatively to NAU. And you see the boot camp IDs with their Riot MMR, hundreds of games, and they're not where they would be on their respective server. Server's just naturally harder. So to be a one-trick at high MMR here, you have to know more because you're getting pitted against more, and you're getting met with more resistance. On NA, I think one-tricks are so fucking disgusting. Holy shit.
Jesus.
I just have to fucking throw that out there.
That segue. I mean, I'll say... I can understand, like, I haven't played in Korea in, like, God knows how long, since I was, like, when it was the last time we played in Korea, Sky? It was, like, OGN, that was, like, 2012?
It's season 2. So, yeah, it was 2012,
Locust,
I think.
Right? Was that
Yeah.
Locust.
Yeah, this was fucking forever ago, so it was a whole different beast, but what you're saying makes sense, because, yeah, if the entire region is, like, we're devoted to, like, playing the game correctly, and we're going to do everything in our power to improve towards, like, making the game perfected. Playing a one-trick, like, trying to break that is fucking impossible, because, I mean, it's not impossible, but you have everything working against you. And NA, it's not like, we're going to perfect the game. It's just like, I'm going to try and win my lane, and then whatever happens after, who gives a fuck? I mean, shit, dude. Like, that's why I can understand why it feels like different beasts for, like, professional... where are you guys?
Oh, keep going.
I was going to say, I can understand why it feels like a different beast for professional players, because, like, the way that solo queue is in NA, like, I know people are doing things wrong, but it's like, who cares because it's working? Like, that's the thing. No one's getting punished for doing stupid shit, so it's like, in everyone's head, dude, in my head, I do stupid shit all the time. It worked. Okay, I'm going to keep doing it. Like, why correct myself? If no one's, like, trying to correct themselves, what's the point of me correcting it? And then you have, like, you'll have one tricks. They'll just do the stupidest shit. Like, I hate using Alicopter as an example, but he's the best example. He plays only Alistar. He just roams 24/7. You, like, level 3, he just leaves bot lane. Like, you know he's gonna roam. You know he's gonna go top lane and camp the brush. Top lane dies to it. Bot lane, jungler doesn't try to punish bot lane just sitting under the tower farm. It's just like, this shit doesn't make any, it's such a stupid play style, but it works every time. So it's like, well, it's working, so I guess it must be good. And
I think it's really hard for me to argue against it too, because in NA, when people, just in general, when people ask me how do you climb the best, I'm just like, play one champ. Limit your champion pool so you lower the amount of variables you have to learn every game, right? So like, when people find out the best way to get results is by playing one champion, they're just gonna keep doing it, right? Because it's the thing that gives you the best results. So it's like the game itself is tailored for you specifically to play one champion, actually. And so that's why for me it's strange, because it's like, I think when LS talks about one tricks and Korea them being good, it's just because the player base is good. And because in NA the overall player base isn't as good, and so like, yeah, a lot of one tricks get away with, like, you know, playing the game worse overall but knowing their champion better. That's just like a solo queue difference. It doesn't change the actual dynamic of the fact that, like, you know, to climb, the best thing to do initially actually is to play one champion.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, yeah, if someone asks me, like, what should I do to learn the game? Find a champion you like to play and just play it. You'll start picking up on random things, and, I mean, you can start applying it to your game. Like, That's the thing, though, is like at a certain point you get to, you have to start knowing more than just your champion. And I feel like that barrier in NA might be
is really high.
Yeah, it might be a lot different than in Korea. Because, like, again, I haven't played in Korea, but from the sounds of it, like, you get to, like, D2, you need to start learning the game. In NA, you get to, like, Masters 400 LP. Okay, maybe you need to start learning the game. Maybe. It's just like, it's like a whole different level then. So I can understand why, players would feel like it'd be a lot different. I think
this is also a bad meta for it, right? Because this meta encourages like laning dominance for one tricks, but there are other metas which encourage like more rotational play. And so, like right now, the best thing you can do is pressure the lane. If you shove your lane every game as a one trick in a solo lane, that's probably like a good decision. Maybe not the best decision, but still a good decision. You know?
Yeah.
And I think that like that's just not fucking true when you're playing against people who can punish your shove. But that doesn't happen much or as much in NA.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's interesting, and I think that if we could ever get to a point where NA could develop itself to be at that level where everyone's like trying to better the region as like a whole, then it would be super cool to see that. But I agree that it's probably not ever going to happen. So, hey, what can you do, man? But anyways, that's going to conclude Beyond the Rift episode number 25 of season 5. Starring the one and only I'm a Cutie Pie. I want to thank our special guest, LS, for joining us today. LS, sorry, we went a little overboard today. We talked about a lot of shit.
It's okay.
But, I mean, if the people want more of you, where can they get you?
I stream on Twitch TV MLS, and then Twitter. I don't know. I can't see the overlay, so I don't know if my Twitter's there, but Twitter, LSXYZ9.
All right. There you go. Skara, if the people want more of you.
I'm on Twitter and Twitch under Skara. You can find me and my other socials there. I'll be streaming probably after this. But again, much thanks to LS for coming on the show. We were going to have him on a little bit earlier, but he was able to move it to accommodate another guest. So again, thank you so much to take some time out and come out to do the show with us. I know people have been wanting you on the show for a long time, dude. Every week I get asked.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me on. It was really fun talking to you guys.
Yeah, thank you again, and thank you everyone that joined us today. Hope you join us next Thursday, same time as always, because it's going to be a root and tune time on Beyond the Rift. But anyways, that's going to be it for this show. Hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Peace.